Her face is blotchy, swelling, and bleeding, but Sina still smiles into the camera. Because in an era where anything can be turned into content, many people would rather turn themselves into a disaster to get attention than remain forever invisible. Sick of Myself, by the Norwegian director Christopher Blay, is not just a pitch-black comedy crossed with body horror. It's a warped mirror reflecting the addiction to being seen that's quietly eating us alive. Sina appears as an ordinary girl stuck in a not-so-healthy relationship with her boyfriend Thomas. While Thomas is a sculptor admired by many, Sina works a dull job at a cafe. Feeling herself swallowed by her boyfriend's shadow, Sina nurtures the determination to yank the spotlight back at any cost. When she can't compete on looks, talent, or personality, she chooses a path that makes everyone wince, secretly using a banned substance bought on the dark web that triggers a severe skin allergy. Sina willingly drags herself to rock bottom just to float to the surface of the media's attention. It sounds insane, but it's entirely plausible. Sina as a character makes us bristle at her brazenness and unlikability. Yet she also forces us to look at ourselves. As narcissism creeps into the tiniest actions of each individual, we may still unconsciously seek attention and airbrush ourselves to look better in others' eyes. In that dream haze of wanting to be admired, how much are we willing to trade just to be seen? The story begins when Sina helps a woman who's been bitten by a dog at the cafe where she works. Blood soaks Sina's shirt bright red. Yet she doesn't shower, wipe it off, or change. She heads straight home. As she walks down the street, of course everyone glances back at Sina in that state, asking if she's all right, because she looks as if she's just suffered a terrible accident. That attention genuinely satisfies Sina, because her underlying motive is to make people notice her. When she gets home, her boyfriend Thomas panics at the sight of her. He keeps asking where she's bleeding from, but instead of explaining what happened, Sina mumbles vaguely, as if she wants Thomas to think she was the one bitten by the dog, so that he'll worry and dote on her more. Only after everyone who needed to witness it has witnessed it, does Sina calmly take off the blood-stained shirt. Before that, it's as if she's reluctant to give up the chance to show off, to make a fuss about the good deed she's done. That incident officially stimulates the latent attention addiction inside Sina. It's like how some people go do charity, make donations, volunteer, or as simple as going out to eat or to hang out. But if there isn't a photo to prove to others that they did it, then in the end, it barely counts. More subtly, they present themselves as humble. Yet their humility, one way or another, still has to be seen. From this mindset, they constantly seek validation, caring more about what others think than what they truly think themselves. They don't do good from a genuine desire to help. They don't eat to savor, nor go out to truly experience. Everything becomes decorative trinkets to hang on themselves so they feel glossy, beautiful, and high value. It's no exaggeration to say that nowadays anything can be turned into content. Everyone is busy boosting their personal media. The prime directive is to make noise, competing to see who can shout louder, who can grab more attention. Back to Sina's dog bite rescue. If I keep repeating it, you'd probably be sick of it. But that's exactly the situation in Sick of Myself. Days pass, and Sina keeps chewing over the story to friends, to her boyfriend, and even to herself. She doesn't recount it objectively as it happened. In Sina's telling, she's the brave hero, while everyone else stood by and watched the woman suffer. Only Sina dared to jump in, staunch the blood, and call for help. She emphasizes her importance, insisting even the police praised her, saying without her that woman might not have survived. She nudges her journalist friend to see if it could become a human interest article. The more we watch, the more we see her scheming, and she can't really fool anyone, because Sina telegraphs it with such naivety and clumsiness. The reason is, she has no awareness of her own blind spots. In relation to narcissistic personality traits, sufferers often lack self-awareness, so they must anchor themselves in how others see them to know who they are. From birth, we need to look into others' eyes to know how we appear, look in mirrors to define what we are like. Beyond that, Sina lies frequently and exaggerates everything. For example, at the party celebrating Thomas's successful exhibition, the chef asks if anyone has allergies. Wanting to seem unique, Sina blurts out that she's allergic to nuts. During the meal, she tastes a bite of Thomas's dish that contains nuts. Nothing happens, yet Sina keeps up the act, coughing, retching, and fainting so people truly believe she's allergic. That's how her everyday life runs, constantly donning masks, because she doesn't feel her true self deserves to be seen. One example, she's adrift in a crowd and no one talks to her. Even when she says something, nobody reacts. Another, Sina deliberately provokes a dog, hoping it'll bite her. When it doesn't, she feels like a cast-off outsider. It sounds silly, but it says a lot about the human longing to be seen when standing at the edge of despair. Gradually, Sina decides the victim mask seems most effective at drawing attention and love, so she chooses it as her false persona. The turning point comes when she scrolls social media and sees an article about a woman with a rare dermatological disease. Normal people would be shocked, frightened, or sympathetic. Sina's brain immediately sparks. If she had that disease, people would be stunned by her. So she pokes around on the dark web and contacts her dealer friend Cien. Sina asks for Lixian, described in the film as a Russian sedative containing a banned substance that causes severe skin side effects, specifically ulceration and swelling. There's no known treatment. Speaking of reckless, you have to exclaim that this person is truly unhinged. For a little fame, Sina is willing to gamble with her life. At first, the drug just makes her sleepy. Impatient, she ups the dose, then red rashes and hives begin to appear. Sina can't hide her glee. That night at home, she makes sure Thomas sees it, but his reaction disappoints her. He urges her to see a doctor. But seeing a doctor, being diagnosed and cured, isn't part of Sina's plan. When her condition spins out of control, she's hospitalized. The moment she wakes, she lunges to ask whether Thomas has told anyone, if anyone has asked about her. If they did, he should say she's hospitalized with a very serious illness. It's another way to confirm her worth, how important she is in others' eyes. If there's one word to describe Sina, it's beyond drama queen. She's discharged with a grand total of 56 messages and a few visitors, metrics she treats as engagement stats. Sina treats herself like a piece of content, and numbers are the KPI for her personal PR. We don't get many flashbacks to Sina's past to judge her background or upbringing. Still, we can faintly infer that the roots of her psychological instability lie in the family. The cradle that raises a person can also cradle their deepest wounds. Sina's father appears twice in the film, and both times he's only in her imagination, not reality. In one vision of her own funeral, she doesn't include her father's name on the guest list, as a petty act of revenge. In another fantasy, Sina imagines herself famous, being interviewed on TV. Her father shows up to apologize for disappearing from her life after divorcing her mother. Here we glimpse a small soul with a child's wounded heart, missing a father's presence. In growing up, Sina searches for her place in the world, because she's never been the center of anyone's world. That sets the stage for her insecure attachment style. A woman with daddy issues often gravitates to partners who resemble her father's traits. Where do children learn to love? From how they are loved. And that forms when we are very young. So it's not that Sina likes being treated coldly the way Thomas treats her. It's that she prioritizes the familiar over the healthy, something she doesn't even know the shape of. In her relationship with Thomas, Sina isn't truly seen or loved enough, so she can't stop chasing attention from outside. In hospital scenes, Thomas sometimes shows care and affection. They look okay, but the toxin seeped in from the start and has saturated their bond. We see them more like rivals than lovers, constantly provoking and jostling to claim the spotlight wherever they go. In the end, Thomas and Sina merely use each other to feed their egos. Thomas in particular is snide whenever Sina lies. He asks pointed questions to expose her, pushing her into corners. Or on the bus ride home from the hospital, he wraps his arms around Sina and comforts her. Only when he notices someone else watching, performing for the spectator to show what a sensitive man he is, projecting hidden charm. It's like someone scrolling their phone one second, then snapping into focused mode the next, because parents, teachers, or the boss walk by. Or someone whose heart is full of prejudice, publicly proclaiming support for the LGBTQ community, because the zeitgeist says that's enlightened. And so many people whirl in non-stop performance, as if always on stage, regardless of time or place. On top of that, Thomas isn't a true artist. He's a thief of luxury furniture. He brazenly displays the stolen pieces in his exhibition as if he made them. While Thomas and Sina are alike, he's far more cunning. He recognizes Sina as the perfect accomplice, willing to abet his unethical schemes, because he believes Sina loves him, or rather is too dependent on his attention. Yet in his exhibition speech, Thomas doesn't spare a single word for Sina, let alone credit her. He smugly claims all the glory. He doesn't remember how others helped him, only how hard he worked. He worships himself and believes everything is self-made. That's the hallmark of someone devoid of gratitude and bloated with ego. Sina, for her part, doesn't care what Thomas says or does. She fixates on how she helped him with those thefts so he could get here. Both are narcissists obsessed with themselves. Even their friends complain that Sina and Thomas constantly derail conversations to steer them back to themselves. People looking in would say they were made for each other. Please don't let go, or you'll inflict yourselves on other people. A striking, razor-sharp satirical scene comes when Thomas and Cena have sex. Together they embroider a fantasy of Cena's future funeral. A long line of mourners waiting to pay respects. They weep and profess deep sorrow at her passing, especially the father and the friend who never visited her in the hospital, both excluded from the guest list. Cena revels in the fantasy and climaxes on it. Throughout the film, her daydreams are intercut with reality, blurring the line between true and false, just like the mind of a narcissist, all script and delusion. Cena calls to mind Pearl, played by Mia Goth in the 2022 film of the same name from director TWS, part of the X trilogy. Pearl and Cena share a pathological hunger for fame. Pearl believes she deserves a better life, with a dream of becoming a movie star. But deep down, it's not faith in herself or her intrinsic worth. Her insistence that she's special is really a coping mechanism, overcompensating for a core of insecurity rooted deep in her soul. The more someone inflates themselves, the larger their inner inferiority. They must construct a superior ego to fend off the terror of rejection. That makes the ego fragile and easily threatened. There's a direct proportion between Cena's Lixian dosage and how much attention she gets. Just as bodies build drug tolerance, Cena's audience becomes numb to the pain she keeps banging the drum about. She commodifies her illness as content, meaning she has to keep chasing it, grinding it down and squeezing it dry. Ironically, the worse the disease, the more attention she gets, and the more excited she becomes. Sick of Myself shows how the hunger for attention can drive us to insane acts and push us to the brink of self-destruction. Eventually, Cena lands an interview for a feature article, The Girl with the Strange Disease. She's giddy at the thought of her face and words being everywhere online. But then breaking news of a mass shooter who killed an entire family dominates every feed. Cena's piece, Barely Alive, drifts into oblivion. She's livid. This brutal detail exposes the reality of the attention economy. The top priority is sensationalism, where tragedies are pitted against each other for which is more horrific, proving that audience attention can swing in an instant. It doesn't stop there. The film's climax comes when Cena is invited to collaborate with a fashion brand as a model. Amid rows of models with perfect facial ratios and ideal height, Cena stands out because of the unusual patterns on her skin. She's recruited as a disabled model, bitterly ironic since the disability is self-inflicted. At first glance, this could seem like a positive sign, society embracing diverse beauty. But Sick of Myself, as a dark satire, lays bare the industry's double standards and hypocrisy when the casting director says, "I'm sick of those skinny bodies and balanced features." Outwardly, they preach respect for difference. Behind the scenes, they exploit the pain of the disabled to harvest public sympathy. Cena only has value to the brand when her deformed face is still beautiful enough. What people prettily call striking beauty. When it gets worse, face ballooning, hair falling out, Cena instantly becomes expired stock, booted from the market. In today's world, with individualism on the rise, Sick of Myself also uses this backdrop to show how compassion has been warped into something shallow and fake. On set, while Cena films a commercial, her skin condition spirals. She collapses, seizes, and bleeds. Instead of worrying about her life, people start arguing, blaming one another, dodging responsibility. Who knows how long it takes before they can stop thinking about themselves long enough to call an ambulance. Think back to the opening. Cena and Thomas in a fancy restaurant, uncorking a $2,000 bottle for a birthday, drawing side glances. Cena is obsessed with those looks. She imagines everyone staring at her. What she doesn't know is that in the very moment she cares most about her image, others may be doing exactly the same, for themselves. Their glance is mere passing curiosity, forgotten in a blink. As kids, every look, every gesture, every bit of attention, love, and focus is poured onto us. It makes us think we're the center of the universe. Then comes the day the spell breaks. Oh, people don't care about me that much. That's the day we stop living by others' eyes. We remain the protagonist of our own life, but we shed the victim mindset. Some people stay stuck in that child stage and never mature emotionally. Still, in one way or another, narcissistic traits exist in all of us. They aren't necessarily dangerous if balanced by self-awareness, self-respect, instead of vanity, healthy boundaries, and compassion for others. Narcissism is often confused with self-love. The difference: narcissism is loving your image in others' eyes, even to the point of betraying your own essence to protect that image. It's the price Narcissus paid in Greek myth. bewitched by his reflection until he plunged into the pool after that hollow love. Self-love, by contrast, is accepting one's imperfections. Light and shadow, strengths and flaws. In truth, as the title Sick of Myself suggests, we already despise ourselves before others do. If we can't accept ourselves, where will we find the faith that anyone else will love this version of us? Alongside its unvarnished messages, the film's imagery is rich with biting metaphor. Shot on 35mm, it carries a nostalgic, warm, romantic texture that contrasts with the grotesquerie on screen. It's not new, but using body horror to make invisible psychological obsessions visible, tangible wounds remains compelling. The body is the outer shell of the mind. One way or another, even if we hate it, it's still the shelter where we feel safe. So when the lesions on Signa's face ulcerate and split, that's when her selfish, ugly core is exposed, her body so ruined that nothing can be hidden anymore. Music. The psychologist Con Trung once said, "The greatest privilege in a person's life is to become their true self." But finding oneself isn't easy, which is why people fall into identity crises at 20, 30, 40, even 80. The easier thing is to find ourselves in others' eyes. Because it's easy, we overindulge. But the more we search there, the more lost we become. Like Sina, she ultimately becomes a distorted mirror reflecting the ugliness of society and those around her. In the final act, she wakes in a ruined state, the inevitable outcome of a bloody bad investment, made worse because the commodity was herself. With no one left, Sina has to cling to a support group to keep going. They sit in a circle, sharing pain as a way to seek empathy and comfort. Wounded souls hand in hand into the forest, where nature opens its arms without judging them by how likable they are, or how much validation society grants them. The film offers no neat answer. Truth is, you can't save those who don't want to be saved. Yet Sick of Myself still leaves a faint glimmer on Sina's healing path. Learning to listen instead of perform. Learning to stop staging and to feel genuine presence.
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah.